So, what do you think? I think that there are so many schools here. There are just a lot of other people out to do the same kind of thing that we are. So, what do you think about just other pre-meds that you meet in Boston?
I can give a completely honest answer, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool. Well, you're my friend very much, and I'll tell you that. But I want to let you know that a lot of my friends are actually not pre-meds. Just because I started out as an engineer here at Northeastern, I was really sure I wanted to be a chemical engineer. It was weird. So that's where I made a lot of my friends, and I find that there's so almost too much medicine sometimes. There's so many kids are doing pre-med. I work all day around pre-meds. I'm with kids who are applying to medical school, who have gotten into medical school all day. So there's a really good pre-med community, and that's very valuable professionally. But for me, socially, it's real. I like to keep my social life a little bit not so much pre-med. And again, I'm not saying I don't like those kids because I love them. You're obviously my friend, but yeah, I think there's a great, like, as far as a professional community goes for kids who want to go into the medical field, the network here is unbelievable. You're going to meet a lot of kids working in labs who have the same goals as you do.
hmm but in terms of not like, you know, maybe hanging out with them, do you think it's maybe just too much? You want to just kind of get away from talking about, med school this and med school that? Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit of overload, but I actually feel like a lot of that's my fault because that's what I want to do. So it's what I find myself talking about a lot.
Right.
But yeah, overall, I think it's a good thing. If you want to apply and go to medical school, it's good to be around kids like that with the same goals because you can form study groups. You have kids that are also doing research that you are. Kids who are also taking the MCAT, which I'm taking in 2 weeks. So you have yeah, so there's I don't mind it so much, but as long as it's not like constant, which sometimes it does feel like it is. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a 50-50 thing for me.
Okay. So would you like to stay here? If you got into a medical school in this area, would you like to continue, studying here in Boston?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would love to. I mean, I wish I had like a definite option of where I was going to go to school. To be honest, I'll be happy if anyone says, "Sam, we want you." But
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely love to stay in this area. I'm still very close to a lot of the people I've done research with. We still have papers that we're working on. I work now at Children's Hospital Boston. So yeah, this is where I feel that I fit in very well here, and I'd be very very happy going to school and studying for my whole life here.
hmm
Maybe not my whole life, but yeah, I could definitely stay in here.
Do you think that there's something else in like, some other part of the country, somewhere outside of Boston that maybe you're missing out on that you can't get here? Or do you think it's pretty much like the full package here in Boston?
That's a tough one. I think the only thing I think I would say I'm missing out a little bit on, and this is just because I've seen a lot of different doctors in Boston. I feel like how do I say this? Yeah, I don't think I do see like a hospital. I think it'd be cool to work at a hospital that is under resourced. The resources are you should really see Children's and Brigham, which I'm sure you have. They're the most amazingly resourced hospitals I've ever seen. I think you would almost learn a little bit more just because you have to improvise a little bit more at a hospital that didn't have so much say. And I'm not going to name a specific area of the country, but if you were in a more rural area of the United States where they didn't have these resources, they didn't have the finances. Harvard's got an unbelievable endowment, and there's a lot of different sources of money coming in there. But there's a lot of places around the United States that I feel don't get that. So I'll definitely apply to those schools too because I think you would learn something with having to improvise a little bit more.
hmm That's interesting. It's a good perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
because my boss went to Michigan State, and I work with a lot of no one I work with went to school around here. They're all from the Midwest, Louisiana, Texas, California. I know somebody who grew up in Guatemala, a really smart guy. Someone who grew up in South Africa. There's people from all over the world, and none of their institutions really were well established or even known by name. But they've become better in some ways better doctors for it just because they've had to think on their feet.
and do they all kind of have the same reason for coming here because it is